She stood at the entrance of the small family-style restaurant, breathing fast, her clothes soaked and streaked with mud. People stared. Some whispered. Some laughed under their breath. But she didn't move. She just stood there, frozen, because this was her last chance. Her last hope. A blind date she almost didn't come to. A blind date where she knew the man would probably take one look at her and walk away. But instead, the single dad sitting by the window didn't laugh. Didn't frown. Didn't look annoyed. The moment he saw her, his face softened with something she hadn't seen in years: kindness. Hey, before we begin, if you enjoy heartfelt, inspiring stories that remind us of the good in people, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. You're watching Kindness World, where every story is a gentle reminder that kindness still exists. Now, let's begin. Her name was Lily. 26 years old, working 2 part-time jobs, and barely keeping her old car running. Today, she had rushed straight from her shift at the garden center, still wearing her work boots, still carrying the smell of soil and summer plants on her clothes. She had planned to change in the restroom before her date. She had planned everything carefully, because it had been years since she'd said yes to meeting someone. But halfway there, her car hit a deep pothole, skidded into a muddy ditch, and splashed her from head to toe. She sat behind the wheel, shaking, staring at her ruined clothes. For a moment, she considered canceling. She typed part of a message, something came up, but then stopped. Because deep down, she knew she didn't want to run anymore. She was tired of always backing out. So she walked the remaining 3 blocks, mud, tears, and all. Inside the restaurant, the warm smell of baked bread and roasted chicken filled the air. A few families were laughing over dinner. A couple held hands across a corner booth. And in a small table by the window sat Ethan. A single dad. 32. A man who hadn't been on a date in 2 years because raising his 7-year-old daughter alone had taken all of his strength and all of his time. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, his hair still messy from rushing out of work, and a children's sticker, bright pink, stuck to his wrist. He hadn't noticed it yet. When Lily walked in, Ethan looked up. She waited for the cringe. The awkward smile. The quick excuse. Instead, Ethan stood up. And smiled. A real one. Gentle. Surprised, sure, but kind. "Lily," he said, stepping closer. "Are you okay?" Just those words made her eyes burn. I'm so sorry," she whispered. "My car got stuck. I didn't have time to clean up. I understand if..." "If what?" he said softly. "If I'm going to judge you for having a bad day?" She blinked, stunned. Ethan's voice was warm, steady. "We've all been there. Come sit. Let's get you something warm to drink." And just like that, he pulled out her chair, signaled the waitress, and acted like absolutely nothing was wrong. Like it was the most normal thing in the world for a woman to show up to a blind date covered in mud. They sat down, and slowly, her embarrassment began to fade. She told him what happened, and he listened, really listened. Not interrupting. Not rushing. Not making jokes at her expense. He even offered to pick her car up afterward and see if he could help get it out, which made her laugh because he said it with so much confidence, even though he clearly had no idea how to tow anything. And with every passing minute, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: safe. When their food arrived, Ethan asked if she'd like something else, something warm, something comforting. She said no, but he still insisted she take his jacket because the restaurant's air conditioning was too cold for someone who just walked 3 blocks in wet clothes. She tried to refuse, but he placed it gently around her shoulders anyway. As she pulled it around herself, she noticed the sticker on his wrist. A small unicorn. He laughed when she pointed it out. "My daughter," he said. She thinks I need more magic in my life. Lily smiled without meaning to. Sounds like a smart kid. The smartest, he said proudly. Then something changed in his expression, something softer, something vulnerable. He admitted he almost cancelled the date too. He told her how hard single parenthood was. How lonely it could feel. How he didn't want to meet someone who would judge him for having a child, or for being tired, or for putting his daughter first. But tonight, something told him to try. That honesty melted her. For the first time that evening, she forgot about the mud. Forgot about the stairs. Forgot about everything except the warmth in Ethan's eyes. They talked for almost 2 hours, about work, childhood memories, favorite foods, funny mistakes, dreams they thought they'd lost. And the whole time, Ethan never once looked at her clothes. Not once. When the bill came, he didn't rush to pay first or try to impress her. Instead, he looked at her and said, "How about we split it? I want this to feel like a team, even from the start." Nobody had ever said something like that to her. When they walked outside, the night air was cool and gentle. Ethan looked at her muddy jeans, then at her tired face, and said, "Let me help you get that car out." She laughed. "Do you even know what you're doing?" "Nope," he said, smiling. "But I'm really good at trying." And together, they walked to her car. It took 20 minutes, a lot of slipping, and one failed attempt that ended with them both laughing so hard they could barely breathe. Eventually, a kind older man driving by helped pull the car free. But what Lily remembered wasn't the man's truck or the mud on their hands, it was Ethan. Standing beside her. Refusing to leave. Refusing to let her face the night alone. Afterward, as she stood by her car, Ethan hesitated. "I know today was a mess," he said. "But honestly, I had a really good time. And if you're willing, I'd like to see you again. Maybe next time with less mud." She stared at him, stunned by how sincere he sounded. "I'd like that," she whispered. He grinned, a warm, relieved grin. "Good. And next time, I'm picking you up. Just in case." They said goodnight. And as Lily drove home, wearing his jacket, still smelling faintly of mud and rain and hope, she cried softly, not because she was sad, but because someone had finally shown her what kindness felt like again. Someone who didn't judge. Someone who didn't look away. Someone who saw her. And in a world that sometimes feels cold and fast and unforgiving, that kind of kindness can change everything. Because sometimes, the most beautiful moments begin in the messiest places. Sometimes, the best people show up when you think you least deserve them. And sometimes, kindness isn't a grand gesture. It's a smile, a warm jacket, and someone who stays when everyone else would have walked away. So wherever you are, whatever you're going through, remember this. Kindness isn't small. It saves people. It heals people. And it can turn a muddy, embarrassing night into the beginning of something extraordinary.